There is a pretty strong concept that you find in a lot of different animes that is willpower. And this can be a number of different willpowers in a number of different animes. You see the will of fire in Naruto and the will of D in One Piece, and then fucking Natsu from Fairy Tail gets fired up all the time. There's a lot of different concepts of willpower in anime, and depending on which one you're talking about, there's differences in what the will is that's being empowered, that's being driven towards, what the desire, what this, passion, what this embodiment of a person or group is in each individual anime. Uh, in Naruto, it's the will of fire. And this can be sort of summed up to sort of very like a group loyalty will kind of thing. And it's not to say that I almost never interpreted it that way when I was watching the show, but it sort of is, because it's sort of a loyalty for the Hidden Leaf, for this is like a clan of fire people. I mean, they're not fire people, but you know what I mean. The Hokage, fire, blah blah blah. Need I say? I mean, like this, like different places, like fire shadow, blah blah blah. Just look up the translations. Hokage, Kazekage, all these other Kages. They're fire focused. In the Hidden Leaf, I don't know if that means burning trees or what sort of. I'm probably does not mean burning trees. I'm probably just there's probably some weird non-cross-cultural connection there that I don't understand, or it's just something creative. Either way, will of fire, like this, like unwavering willpower of loyalty to your fellow clan, your fellow Hidden Leaf clan people, your fellow village members, and whatnot. But again, I've never really thought of it as being sort of like an ultimate, like sort of unwavering loyalty thing, because at the very beginning of that whole series, Naruto was like an ostracized outsider, the sort of demon fox from the village, or at least what people viewed as a demon fox. So he was always fighting, and I would even say so much fighting the village. Fighting the village to be accepted by the village. So in that sense, it is sort of like a will of fire, but it's so not loyalty in the same way, because you're fighting against them to be accepted by them. And in fighting against them, you're not being particularly loyal to them, you know? You're being loyal to your own self-interest. Because if you were really just loyal to them, I don't know. You would just assume that they know best, and just like, well, they want me ostracized, so I'm loyal to I don't know, I guess there's a number of different ways you can take that perspective. But I guess it's if it is a loyalty, it's a fairly different kind of loyalty, one that recognizes one's own individual value and how one can then create a better village, create a better group through that. And even a deeper will of fire than the rest of the village has, because Naruto's clan, Naruto's tribe was like practically global. It was everyone, every village, every group, every shinobi, whatever, by the end, I'm gonna have to put a spoiler alert in the description there if you didn't see it. Be fair warned and get out now. Well, it's still not a big spoiler. But every one of them is a will of all peoples. To sort of stick together and unite, that glue that holds societies together. And that's a valuable thing. I'm not a huge... I'm not hugely... That's not my instinctive personality to be like loyalty above all else, you know. Certainly loyalty, but not blind loyalty by any means. Because loyalty is a value, but so is the ability to make distinctions and reform a society and make changes and developments and strengthen the whole, you know, the individual's benefit to the greater whole. You know, I guess that's sort of what Naruto did. But in a different way and for different reasons, but all together still to that sort of greater purpose of bettering everyone in a righteous cause. And I like that. I always resonated with the will of fire, you know. With strong willpower and this sort of, you know, not immeasurable, but, you know, like, unwavering to the death, never gonna falter sort of willpower, undefiable willpower that just timelessly, you know, goes through every decision one makes in you know, in what they do. And that's what a lot of these animes reflect and show. This just go-getter mentality of just keep going towards your desire, towards your desire, towards your desire, towards your will, over and over and over again, despite all odds. And that translates even if you're going into the will of D, which is One Piece, and that's even in a different way. But you see Monkey D. Luffy, you see any of the family of D, the D folks, the Gold D, Roger, Monkey D, Luffy, whoever, Poltergeist D, Ice, I already said Gold D, Roger, Monkey D, Dragon, Monkey D, Garp, yes, all sorts of Ds, but there's this unfaltering, go towards one's own desires kind of mentality. But with the will of D, it's a lot different than the will of fire. The will of D is a mystery. Oh God. It's a super mystery. No one knows what it is to some degree. A lot of speculation out there. I haven't even looked into it. People probably have all sorts of theories, but I feel like having this unfiltered moment, any theory I throw out there might either be a repeat or something unique and interesting. But if you're thinking about it, well, what does D stand for? We wonder, first question and foremost, is it a full word? I mean, it's D initial dot. Is it just D? Is it the whole name? Or is it short for something like dream or desire or danger or domination? Because a lot of these things are related to what's going on there in the will of D in the show, is these very forceful and domineering and powerful conquering type people who recklessly go through danger carelessly with a smile on their face facing death. Type of people going towards their desires unwaveringly. Again, spoilers. Spoilers alerts. The what was it called? Like the Bane of the Gods. It wasn't the Bane of the Gods, but it was something just as ominous as like, oh shit, these people are like the arch nemesis of the celestial dragons, the people who call themselves kami, you know? Like, this is legit. These people, you know, like, they tell kid stories to these baby celestial dragons. Oh, watch out, or the D will get you! And Don Flamingo is just shitting his pants, well, with a smile, of course. And just bulging veins coming out. It's like he's it's this weird combination of like angry with like either fake or genuine happiness. I don't know which one it is. I really want to know sometimes. Is he happy? Is he angry? Is he both? Is he faking happiness while being just enraged every time he smiles? Is he like veins popping through? Oh, I wonder. I really do. But again, Will of D, Will of Fire, this willpower in animes. And the Will of D is certainly a mystery, but ultimately we would think tied with One Piece, we would think tied with sort of, at least a will that fights the powers that be in a enormously corrupted society controlled by mysterious overlords of sorts. People who consider themselves gods, authoritarian, sort of like almost dictators, you know? And that's almost a lot more relatable. Not to say we live in hugely authoritarian societies, but the power is deeply centralized to a bunch of high-up rich oligarchs. Like celestial dragons, except, not with a lot less authority. Thank God. I don't want to be shot in the street because I said something bad about Bezos, you know? Or like, oh, I looked at him. Oh no, eye contact with Bezos. Oh no, I didn't kneel. Oh no, he shot me. It's like, I don't even know. Do the celestial dragons, I wonder if they, like, ever walk through hospitals, because if they do, there are just so many casualties, I'm sure. Because you can't, there's a sense of urgency in some places, as you know, as point and example shows, and you can't do this silly little sort of, like, decorum nonsense. You know, it's like, so, tangent. But, so the willpower in animes largely goes throughout a lot of these different ones. I almost want to say more about the Will of D, but I'll give you more of that at the end if I have something. Because right now I want to focus on this, I guess. Because the willpower in these anime shows, we've got, like all sorts of super adventurous, super gung-ho, high energy, loud, boisterous boys. A lot of shonen type of, a lot of annoying Natsu dragon eels and, I don't even remember Black Clover at this point. I was just watching it. You think I should know the guy's name on the top of my head, but he's loud and annoying too. Just think of someone who's yelling all the time. Spiky hair and big sharp eyes. Just a bunch of sevens. Enneagram type sevens. Whereas, like, the Will of Fire, that's like Enneagram Type 6. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's personality typing. Look it up, have some fun with it. Or don't. Be like, oh, personalities, they scare me. psychologists. They're gonna look into my mind. Counselors and a lot of this crap. And some of it's justified, because a lot of this stuff is based in authority and punishment and discipline. And I don't like the fact that psychology and counseling and all the psychiatrists and all this stuff are connected a lot to sort of these very negative connotations in our society, but they are. Tangent. Okay. But there's also this very clear definition of these sort of willpower like a continuous training and being knocked down and getting back up again, kind of mentality. It's such a common theme that it's almost become cliched. So much so to the point that you've got other animes more or less making fun of it. Particularly, I'm thinking World Trigger. Osamu, the sort of intellectual. But the thing is, even with Osamu, even though they're sort of, making fun of this sort of just fight, like sheer determination and willpower will bring you forward kind of thing, he also has sheer determination and willpower. Otherwise, even with all his brains, he would have given up at some point. The thing is, he's coming in with strategy as well. It's like he's just adding another skill to the skill set while then making fun of all these other shows for just doing willpower, which isn't even true. They do so much more. They have so much more strengths than just willpower. With Naruto, I'd say a lot of that's just genetics. It's like, oh yeah, I just have a genetic predisposition to be a lot better than the rest of you because my father was a Hokage. I really don't like those people in society, but I love Naruto. Because he's not a, self-righteous prick. With questionable morals. But. And One Piece, the same thing there, too. There's a lot of other skills, like lack of fear of death for Luffy. Like, not even questioning one's, no doubts, zero doubts whatsoever, just pure chagrin, kind of, I don't know if chagrin is the right word, kind of happy-go-lucky mentality. And with both of them, sort of this drive to this personality that attracts, that magnetizes people towards you. Enneagram Type 9s say that connects very well to them, or at least I've read or heard such things. Magnetism. Immense magnetism. Where people are just like willing to follow and leadership skills almost, true strength and leadership skills, if you will. So there's a lot of skills that go into it. It's not just willpower. But Osamu is more of an intellectual and doesn't like these jock types. And there's this cliche nerd versus jock kind of thing going on. Glasses. Meganeku! It's like evil glasses people, Oh, that's another cliche thing. Oh, tangents. Anime fun stuff. I'd love to know how much of this is just anime and how much is Japanese culture. I don't know. But it'd be really interesting to know those glasses folks, if they're really seen as like evil masterminds all the time. I mean, I know, I don't know if he had glasses, though. The guy from Bleach, he was an evil mastermind. Starts with an A. Aizen? I think he was Aizen. Evil motherfucker. Also, another loud, boisterous, Ichigo, another loud, boisterous, spiky-haired, annoying person. Not to say they're all annoying, it's just, sometimes with every personality, there's a point to which you just go too far. Like the person in Black Clover, whose name I still have forgotten. Probably because of how annoying he is. It's like too much energy. You've gone too deeply into the unhealthy side of your personality. Balance it out a little bit, for God's sakes. Breathe. Breathe. But willpower. I wanna get back to that. Because the Osamu thing it's great and all, but I think strategy is intellectual. Using the mind is super important, but it's not to undermine willpower at all. Doesn't undermine it, because so many people in our world don't follow their wills. And I think that's something that's hugely lacking, at the very least, in the leaderships of our societies, is the strong willpower, strong will of the masses, will of the people, inciting change in our societies. And I think that that's something that should be brought more into our political landscapes, should be brought more into our, into our politics, into our economy, into our social, into our whatever. Not just pure rage and hysteria and anger and all this other stuff. A lot of high energy sort of stuff that's going on that everyone has these days. That's all great too. But a strong, powerful, moving, passionate energy towards one's wants and desires, towards the candidates or the people or the ideologies or whatever that they most truly believe in, most truly are driven by, that sort of voting one's conscience kind of driving force. Because the Osamus of the world might say vote the lesser of two evils. But I think we need some more innovation and creation and drive in our landscape to drive us out of the tired, old, inside the box madness, insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. I don't know if that's actually insanity, though, but nonetheless, in individual circumstances, it most certainly is pretty insane. We need fresh starts, fresh courses, reform, innovation, driving force, passion. So I think we should be bringing a little more of the will of D, the will of fire, the anime style, not anime style, willpower into our politics, unwavering. This is where I stand, and I am not backing away from it. I will hear you out, I will hear the other sides, but, my position still comes from a place of my values, so if you want to change my direction on that, you have to speak to my values. And, have a little honesty, a little integrity, a little bit of, we don't want lesser of two evils. We want something that's brought towards a direction of progress, towards a direction of, meaning or change. Towards a greater being. Even if you're talking global warming, let's just we could even just start with survival and not just, survival of the richest and those born into wealthy circumstance. Because it's not merit-based, that's for sure. Some people move forward based on their own merits, but that is not most. And there's no way that wages even remotely come close to accurately reflecting one's merits, or one's drive, or the amount of passion, or the amount of action, or the amount of work that people put in to their jobs, to their daily lives, to their betterment, to anything. So, that's one thing I'd like to see more of. Nonetheless, going back, sort of just to top this off to the Will of D for a little bit. What is the mystery solved? What is? I mean, I would think, my guess, I don't even think One Piece is a real treasure full of riches. I think it probably is, but I think the more enriching treasure of One Piece is not treasure itself, but sort of like the overarching theme of the show, adventure and freedom. I loved. I think the Will of D. I wish I remember the words exactly. Luffy said at one point in time, what he believed being king of the pirates meant. And it was something along the lines of freedom, but it was so well and articulately said, like he said sometimes in these shows, like you see, he seems to be this just dumb, happy-go-lucky person, but then every now and then he's got this like Yoda-like wisdom, like, oh, that just comes out of fucking nowhere. And this was one of those moments. Rayleigh asked him what he thought, why he wanted to be king of the pirates, and he said what it meant to him, and that I think has a lot to do with the Will of D. Honestly, I don't think, I guess when it comes down to it, I don't think that it's anything. I don't think the Will of D, as lame as it sounds, is anything other than these overarching subtle themes. I really don't think that the mystery is so deep. I think that there's probably going to be some elaborate plot and some deep conspiracy. I mean, I know there's deep conspiracy and probably some genuine fight in the void history that happened between two different sides. And I think the D's were in power before. Because the only thing, if you really think about it, the only time that someone would want to hide a history is if the other history was enormously inconvenient for them. As in to say, it would show that they're not gods. It would show that in some way they took power in a, highly questionable way from a number of different kingdoms and other powers. The corruption started at the beginning from whoever the Talop celestial dragons were. I guess they were a number of different kingdoms that came together on the basis of evil, one would assume. Greed, some sort of infection of negative personality-based desires, fears, maybe even, driven by fears. To sort of accumulate more than one's needs or one's true health would really give them. So I really do think that that's got to be a part of it there, is that these, the deep conspiracy, the deep thing is not it's not whatever the overarching, what is the will of D? The mystery is probably in what happened. And, who these people were. And I do think the will of D, I do think that they were probably a much better society that had control over it before these people just toppled them. I mean, it's kind of reflective in the poneglyphs as well, because if you think about it, it's like a lost technologies. And I think, lost because of why? Because the celestial dragons took over. That's gotta be it. Lost because the people who had it before, the D, the other driving forces of a healthier, older society, were at work back in those times, and had flourishing, prosperous, beautiful lands and whatnot. And probably a lot of what's there, probably the more interesting part of what's there, is all that poneglyph history stuff, and whatever Nico Robin is looking for is probably one of the most interesting thing. I know some of you like gold and riches and money and all this material crap. Just like a lot of you people in animes like all the fighting and shit like that. And I'm sure there's going to be some great fights at the end too. But it's probably so much more interesting is I feel like that's the meat. That's the meat. That's the Nico! Wait, I think Nico is meat, right? Jesus. I feel like I know these things, but I'm too excited to, confirm in my intellectual side, whereas my passionate side is just just say it, I don't care if I'm butchering Japanese. Very, very hungry souls. Just eat as much as possible. That's another theme in animes. Just eating insane amounts really fast. And it's so unrealistic, but I love it. And I don't even eat meat. I don't like meat, but it's such an enjoyable part of the scene, because it's just good food and celebration. This is the heart of the adventure. That is One Piece.